And without his participation and his vigilance, we may not have been able to capture those two cowards that did that most heinous act. So thank you very much, cowards. Tonight we will present our Essential Puzzle Piece Award. Every year we try and come up with some inspirations that are going to inspire us to do better year 8, 9, 10, and hopefully next 30 years. Tonight we're going to present our Essential Puzzle Piece Awards to two women who left us too soon. Unfortunately, over the last 18 months, we've seen some horrific tragedies in our communities, not only just in Boston, but also in New England. And the two women we're going to honor tonight, posthumously, is Rachel Davino and Anne-Marie Murphy. Both worked with autistic students and shielded autistic students during that horrific act in Sandy Hook, where again, they put their own well-being in line to save two autistic boys, two autistic children. We're honored that Rachel's mother, stepfather, sister, and best friend have joined us, along with Anne-Marie's 3 daughters. Now, Anne-Marie's husband is an operating engineer out of Connecticut. He unfortunately is suffering from stage 4 brain cancer. Couldn't join us tonight. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say that despite all that he's gone through and going through, he wrote a check for $1,000 for our charity. So thank you very much for your work. Tonight I'm hoping to go upstairs. You're going to hear a lot about in the speaking program about giving back to the communities, making sure that we sponsor the programs within our communities. And when you're in your communities, you've got to be the biggest advocate for what you believe in. Whether it's fighting for the rights of autistic children, or fighting for the rights to get legislation passed that are going to help families, or whatever that plight may be, you need to be the biggest advocate, or we need to be collectively the biggest advocates in our communities. A good friend of mine, David O. Russell, who is a director, he was here last year, directed many movies like The Fighter, American Hustle, Silver Playbook Linings. He's an advocate in the community where his child suffers from bipolar disorder. And there's no stronger advocate. He couldn't be here tonight. But in his place, he sent a familiar face who most of you will probably know. We're honored to be joined tonight by Academy Award winner actor Chris Cooper and his wife Marianne Leone. Chris and Marianne have both been in too many films to mention, but tonight they are here as parents. I'd like to invite Chris and Marianne up to take a few minutes to share their family story about advocacy and fighting for what's right for the children that may or may not have a voice. Give a great applause. Chris and Marianne.
Oh, thank you everybody for being here tonight, and it's an honor to stand in for David O. Russell tonight. He's very sorry to have missed this event. It's something that resonates very personally with him in many ways. When he called me last night, he asked me to represent him. I was happy to, because I know this kind of organization is very helpful, and how much it brings to the community. And my wife and I are members of the disability community through our late son, Jesse. And here is where I let you into a little secret. Even though I'm an actor, I'm not very comfortable speaking without a script. And so I hope you don't mind if Marianne steps in and tells you a little bit about our own experience with the disability community. Thank you.
Our late son Jesse had severe spastic quadriplegia. He was nonverbal. We moved back to Massachusetts. I'm a Massachusetts girl. I'm from the lake, from Nonantum. And I knew that Massachusetts was better than the national average for including students. Unfortunately, the town we moved to did not have inclusion, but never get in the way of an Italian mother, never. There were 6 lawsuits that year. Sped director doesn't have a job anymore. Jesse went to school. He went to school with all his other classmates. He was a straight A student. He was a Latin scholar. He was a poet. But I want to tell you about what community means. In the 6th grade, Jesse and I went to Prague because Chris was doing the Born Identity, one of the perks, we got to travel. And Jesse took a week off from school, but he was keeping a journal on his computer. And when we went to go back, we were flying back through Paris. And there was no accessibility whatsoever. Everywhere we asked, where's the elevator? Je suis désolé, je suis désolé. So finally, Chris got just sick of it. And he took Jesse's travel chair and he just pushed it onto the escalator. And what we didn't realize was that at the top there were 3 barriers. So it kind of turned into a Three Stooges routine, and people were screaming. Chris was speaking his own version of French. And Jesse was laughing. So Jesse wrote about it in his computer, and his teacher, who was great, like the great public school teachers that we have, said to her class, okay, so France wants to hold the Olympics, so to whom would you write a letter about that? So we have the letters that the kids wrote. They wrote to the state senators, they wrote to the mayor. One kid wrote, "Dear Mr. Bush, do you know what happened to my friend Jesse?" But the thing that struck me was that a lot of them wrote, what about elderly people? What about people with children in strollers? So now you have a room full of 11-year-olds who now are thinking about community because Jesse was in their classroom. And this is what community means to me, and this is what inclusion means to me. Inclusion of everybody. And this is what we still fight for. We still work with the Federation for Children with Special Needs and with Access Sport America to make sure that we have a fund in our son's name for low income and people for whom English is a second language. My mother spoke Italian. If my mother were in one of those rooms where they were talking in acronyms, forget it. I mean, so that's why we're here tonight, and we want to honor David and also your cause. Thank you very much.
So we honored all the big donors, we honored all the people in this room. The people that we need to thank the most, the people that helped plan this event, and it wouldn't have been possible without obviously the agents and officers from Teamsters Local 25, so I want to thank you for supporting this charity. But more importantly, there's 2 people that make this happen. Tom Murray, our Vice President and Co-Chairman of our Autism Committee. And the one person that seems to make everything happen around Local 25, not just the Autism Charity, but our co-chairperson, Trish Da Silva. So tonight, before we go upstairs, we have a great night planned. We've got a Cadillac raffle, and tonight, just coming into this event, we had $499,000.